Hey, what's up everybody? This is Phil from Walmart coming at you. It is Tuesday, July 6th, 2 days after 4th of July. I hope everybody had a safe and enjoyable 4th of July. I know in our area there was a lot of people, this in the Sacramento area, a lot of houses catching on fire from fireworks that were being set off. A lot of residents complaining about the excessive amount of fireworks. In our area, I don't think it was really that excessive. I think in years past it was a little bit more, at least that I recall. But I don't really recall last year's because of the pandemic. Did we even have one? I think some people let off some. I think they held on to theirs from last year. I think they had some extra from last year. Maybe they didn't set them all off. They didn't have the parties, everything else, so now they were able to have people come over, enjoy the barbecue, enjoy the 4th of July, and enjoy our independence. So I hope everybody was safe and everything else. So kind of give you an idea of today, my day. I always start this with what my day was like for the day. So my day today started in Sac. It was my first day out, and as I am pre-tripping my tractor, getting all my gear moved over from my pickup truck over to the rig, the tire guy pulls in the yard. Okay, remember I told you I got tires on the tractor the week before, so this is one of that same tractor. And what I didn't get done was the steer tires, and the steer tires were still pretty good, but I guess either somebody looked at it or wrote it up or commented on it, and there was a decision made to change them out, which is fine. It's just I wish the tire guy would have been there at 8 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. The time I had to go. So I just coded down to breakdown and then got going. During my pre-trip, looking at the DVIR book. So part of your pre-trip should include reviewing the DVIR from the previous driver. I don't know if you can really see that in this light, the DVIR book. And as I looked at the DVIR book, the previous driver had marked the cracked windshield. And at first I thought, oh yeah, it's got some chips in it. I saw that before. No, two big, good-sized cracks. And so I talked to management at my location, and they said, yeah, if you can get it to McCarran, they can swap it out. And I said, okay, let me get my trailer and I'll get going. And if anything changes, I'll give you a call. Well, literally as I'm pulling onto the highway, getting on the on-ramp and getting up to speed, I get a call from management, and they said, hey, McCarran can't do it. It's got to go to the Freightliner dealer, or they can't do it. So Red Bluff would be the next best thing. I said, okay, do you want me to turn around? I just got an empty. You want to change my dispatch and move me to Red Bluff? And I'm kind of glad he didn't. He told me to keep on trucking to McCarran. And because if I would have gone just to Red Bluff, I would have been out of a lot of miles for the day. Was I taking a risk going through a scale possibly and getting pulled over, and the highway patrol or the Nevada highway patrol saying, hey, you can't go anywhere with that cracked windshield? Sure. I'm hoping that they would allow me to at least get to McCarran so that I can swap out or what have you. But nothing happened. I was able to get a load, go from there all the way from McCarran to Redding. I went to Redding, California, dropped the trailer up in Redding, and then they had an empty there, so I just dropped and hooked. And even though it's calling for live unload, if they don't have the staff, I'm not going to wait. I don't want to wait there. I wanted to get the window taken care of here in Red Bluff, and so I can get a reset and get off the clock and get my reset going. So they had an empty. I dropped and hooked, and I came here, got in the shop, and I was able to get the windshield replaced, and everything's good, and I'm ready to go for tomorrow. So basically, I had a hook in Sacramento, a drop in McCarran, a hook in McCarran, a drop at the store, a hook at the store, and then a drop here. So 3 hooks, 3 drops, an arrive, a layover, so a couple arrives. So it's not a bad day, and it ended up with a little over 430 miles for today. 430 miles, which is a pretty good day, mileage wise. I like to stay over 400 every day, so that way I end up my week with at least 2,000 miles. So it was a good start of my week. However, my week actually started Saturday, because we go Saturday through Friday on our weeks. So my Saturday, which was really my Monday, if you want to look at it on the week, with Sunday, Monday off, I only ended up with like 200 something miles. It was a short day, but I had a lot of activity, so that helped with my average daily pay for the day. So I'm thankful for that. I had all that extra activity to boost it up. Plus that was was that an extension day? No, that was not an extension day. That was just a regular day. The week before was an extension day. So anyway, I wanted to talk about, my topic for tonight is, what did I do before truck driving? What did I do before truck driving? I don't mind telling you all that I am 50 years old, and as I said in a previous video, I plan to be at Walmart for at least 15, if not longer, more years, and plan to retire from here. With that being said, before truck driving, I started working during college, working at the airports. And working at the airport, I started loading, unloading aircraft. So basically a baggage handler, or whatever you want to call it from that. And I started on the international end of it, meaning your international carriers such as British Airways, KLM, Korean, Japan, Aer Lingus, Alitalia, Air France, basically all the international carriers, and I worked that for a while, and I became a crew chief running the crew, and usually we had a crew of anywhere from 5 to 6 people, unless it was a combi type aircraft or a combination type aircraft where half the upper deck where the passengers sit, or part of the upper deck of where the passengers sit, has been removed of all seats. They put a bulkhead in there, and then they carry cargo on the same level with the passengers, so the same height of a 747, same height inside that you would normally see when you're traveling on an aircraft, from floor to ceiling, is the size of the pallets going in. And then all underneath where the passengers are sitting, there's more space for more cargo pallets. And then in the bulkhead, or the bulk compartment, there was for loose items such as crew bags, stuff like that. So I did that for a while. I was just loading, unloading. I was running crew chiefs, and then I just kind of worked my way up. My goal was always to work my way up in management, and don't ask me why. Leaders are leaders, and I think if you're a leader, you're a leader no matter where you're at. And I think that's kind of why I'm doing these videos as well, is I'm not leading people anymore, but I'm hoping to share some advice and ideas out there, and hopefully it helps some people. But so I continued. I became a supervisor. I moved to a different company, and I moved around a little bit until I got into management, like really like the assistant manager and the manager running the operation for our company at that location. and time flew. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I took pride in what I did, the loading and unloading of the planes. It's like playing Tetris. You got to they bring all the cargo to the aircraft, all the baggage to the aircraft, and you got to find a way to get it all fit in there and be in balance, because balance is important when you're loading aircraft. And so you had to know what you're doing in order to make sure that it's all balanced. So I did that, and I started that in 1989. I was 19 years old, going to college, and I continued it all the way till 2016. So I think 1989, 2016, what is that, 27 years? 27 years I worked at the airports. I worked in LAX, I worked in Ontario, California, I worked in San Diego, I worked in the Bay Area, which is San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. I worked out of Portland, Oregon. I worked out of Las Vegas, and I worked out of Manchester, New Hampshire. Yeah, that one was a good one. Some family issues took me to Manchester, New Hampshire. I was only there temporarily, and the folks there are wicked cool. Wicked cool. I love that term. They use wicked cool on everything. But I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I didn't want to stay in the aviation industry for the rest of my career. And I was in management. I was managing operations for the company, and that's why they moved me around, mainly service companies. I did do some time working for the airlines directly. Frontier Airlines out of Los Angeles was one of them. Qantas, I was through a service provider, but we were basically a partner of theirs, subsidiary, so we were kind of their partner. Qantas would have been the coolest probably job I had there. Was I got to go to Sydney, Australia a couple times on business, paid for by the company, and prepare for the Summer Olympics down there in 2000. So that was fun and exciting and everything else. So yes, we did get some free travel. Japan Airlines sent me all the way to Japan a couple times to train me up, because we were going to service them in San Diego, and they needed to have us come there for our training because we didn't have any aircraft there to train with and stuff like that. Whenever you get on the good side of the client, it always feels good. Our client in San Diego, I was a manager, but I was the lead load master. I was assigned to be the lead load master for that client. And what the lead load master really does is he trains other load masters on how to load the aircraft in accordance to Japan Airlines standards. And they have their own manager there, and he nicknamed me Allstate. That was my nickname. And if you know anything about the old Allstate commercials, you're in good hands with Allstate. They knew that I was going to take care of their flight, and they knew nothing would go wrong. And if I was on duty, they worried a little bit more when I wasn't there, that type of thing. But that made me feel good. So it was tough to make those decisions to leave, because I enjoyed playing with Tonka toys. But loading and unloading was just one aspect of it, right? So prior to that, during that period, and this is all going to tie together of trucking, is we had to get the cargo warehouses for these airlines are not right by the terminals in LA, for example. Some are closer to the terminal than others, but in LA, you're talking miles away from the terminal is where the cargo warehouse is located. So I was a cargo runner, if you want to call it. That's what the title we called it, is you were a cargo runner, and we drove various bobtails and equipment and towed the equipment from the warehouse over to the tarmac for delivery and whatnot. Now, with a trucking, you're towing one trailer, maybe two, right? Maybe two. At the airport, we were towing 5 to 6 smaller trailers, and each of them were I think 96 inches. Do the math. What is that? 96 inches. 5, 6, 7 feet, somewhere around almost 7 feet in length, and there are 6 of them. So, and then you got the tongues in between that connect them, and basically they're dollies, and they transport the cargo on top of the dolly, which is on a cookie sheet. Then you put all the cargo on top of it and put a cargo net on top of that, and then that whole cookie sheet and the cargo gets loaded onto the aircraft, and then you're left with the empty dolly underneath. Now, 6 of those, you're talking a lot of weight for a small vehicle, sometimes the larger vehicles, and our max speed maybe is 25-30 miles an hour at some places of the tarmac, but you had all the aircraft. In LA, there's all the aircraft, and guess what? The aircraft have the right of way, and guess what? They don't use turn signals. So you kind of had to know, hey, that aircraft or that airline is going to go and make a right turn here or a left turn there, because that's where their terminal is. Oh no, that one's getting ready to go take off. That one's going down to the end of the runway. You can just keep going. You don't have to stop for that guy. So I ran cargo for a long time, and it was much like driving a truck. You're just out there doing your job, and you're going back and forth between point A to point B to get cargo, drop it off at the tarmac, pick up the cargo from the tarmac, take it back over to the cargo warehouses. So much like what we're doing here at Walmart. Now, the other thing I did, and I enjoyed a lot, took pride in, is the maneuvering of the aircraft itself. When the pilot's not there, sometimes we had to actually move the aircraft off of a gate over to a pad or a parking location off the terminal to park it there. And sometimes it was a mechanic inside the cockpit, and sometimes it was myself riding inside the cockpit, talking, communicating with the ground to control tower, just like a pilot would, and requesting permission. And then the other part of it is I was actually physically the one driving the tow tractor to maneuver the aircraft around. And when I say aircraft, I went from the very small aircraft to DC-9s to 747s. DC-9s all the way up to 747s. Towing them from one point of the airport to the other point of the airport. And one tow for a 747 could take about an hour at LAX, depending on the time of night or time of day that you're doing it, because one, you're going slower than it can taxi. Two, there's other traffic that's going to get priority over an aircraft in tow. So, fast forward, I got out of the industry and I went for an interview for my previous employer. And my previous employer, during the interview process, asked me, Phil, do you have any interest in learning how to back a 53-foot trailer? And I looked him right in the eye and I said, and Don is his name, Don, you show me how to back a 53-foot trailer, I'll take you to the airport and I'll show you how to back a 747. Deal? Deal. All right, so I ended up getting hired. And, you know, if you know anything about UPS, it's part-time at first. And I left management at the airport, and then got hired in management at this company, and then got my CDL through this company. And great company, don't get me wrong, great company, a lot of good things, and they've been in business over 100 years. But I couldn't leave management to go do this, to go drive. At least not in my location. And now they could have, but there's some union things. There's also some other things. I think, once that first management person crosses the line or over the line from management to the union shop, it opens the door to other management that might want to do the same thing. And I know it's a business decision. You can't fault anybody for that. So I looked elsewhere, and I found elsewhere, and I landed here at Walmart, and I'm telling you, I'm enjoying it. I have no plans. My wife has told me, stop taking on extra stuff, because again, as a leader, you're a type A personality, you kind of just go up to that level. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that I stay behind the wheel and not become a leader here in the sense of management. Now, if being a leader here means I can mentor anybody else that's coming in, and I can help them get acquainted with what we do here at Walmart versus what they might have been familiar with at their previous trucking companies, I'll have no problem doing that, as long as I'm still a driver and everything else. I enjoy teaching. When I was at the previous company, I taught people how to drive. I got my CDL, and then we taught other people how to drive and how to get their CDL, and not just get their CDL, but learn how to drive, right? You'll hear me talk about different things, and following distances, mirror checks. Well, this company, there's a system out there called the Smith system. Some people have been trained on that. This system methods that I came from, we used a version of the Smith system where you had the 10-point commentary, you had the 5 seeing habits, but this is stuff you should know already. Anybody that's been out driving their own personal car, I'm saying their own personal car, they should already know these things. You should check your mirrors. How often? 5 to 8 seconds? Sure. You should not tailgate people. You should look left, right, left before going through the intersection. You should allow the other vehicles to start up before you start going, because what if you rear end them? You got to let them get away from you as well. Get you away from that billboard that I talked about before on other videos. You should watch out for cars that are parked on the side of the street that might have an occupant inside, and they might be pulling away from the curb, and they're not going to check their mirror, and they're just going to come out. You should be looking at that as a driver that's approaching that. There's a lot of different things that you should already know how to do. Now, I have a couple other people I watch on YouTube, and one of them is Walmart Rob. He's out there. Check him out, Walmart Rob. I'm giving him a shout out in this video. And then there's another gentleman by the name of Raymond Gibbs, and he's out of Shelby, North Carolina. And him and I were talking last night via a couple messages off of his video, and I don't want to tag on to his videos and steal his thunder, because I think you should subscribe and like his as well as mine. Subscribe and like mine. But rookies, my opinion, I'm going to tag on to it now that I'm on video instead of him and I talked about it on messages last night. Why Walmart doesn't allow rookies. Rookies have their place. Rookies, meaning, and when I say a rookie, a true rookie, they just got their license. They're just out of CDL school. They don't even have any miles on the road yet, really. I mean, when you're in CDL school, some of these CDL schools, you barely go on road. I think you barely get enough time to get what you need to get out there and pass the test. When I talk about real road work, going into a client, customer, picking up, dropping off your trailer, picking up another trailer, how to do that? How do you do that? Anybody show these rookies? No, right? So Walmart is not in a position that they want to hire rookies, and I'm all for that. I support that, because I've been driving a long time. Even though I haven't been a truck driver, I've been driving a long time. 50 years old. I had my license at 16. I was at the DMV at 15 and a half getting my permit, and at 16 I had my license and I was driving. Was I good back then? No, I was horrible. I'm sure I was horrible. I know I was horrible. And years and years of driving has taught me a lot of things. And you see things and what not to do things. And a rookie just doesn't have that. A true rookie truck driver doesn't have that. So just to kind of tag on to that. But Walmart Rob, Ray Gibbs, check them out. They're on YouTube. They're putting out content as well. And like and subscribe them as well if you're seeing my videos, and give them the props that they get, because they're taking time just like I am. This is our downtime. We don't have to do this. We want to kind of educate you guys and kind of reach out to you guys, but this is our time and we're giving it to you guys. So I hope you're using it. Anyway, for Right Lane Trucking, Phil from Walmart, I want everybody to stay safe, and I'll be touching back in tomorrow. See ya.